We have old business on our agenda. First is the DES department head hiring. This is one that I brought. We hadn't. I had a good meeting with Don Benton this morning, and we talked about kind of the shared success and wanting to make sure that we're all working towards shared success. And what I realized was that I need more information about what success looks like. I think it's fair to say that the job description as it existed no longer exists, that there is a new job description that you gentlemen were looking for, and that Mr. Benton will fill. So the question I have is, how do we actually determine what success looks like? Is there a job description that can be updated? Is there, as someone who needs to be able to monitor, are we having success? Or is Don successful in his job? I need to know, what does success look like? And so I'm not sure if you guys have thought about that at all. I know that you had ideas, Commissioner, that you would put forward in an amended job description, whether you wanted to kind of complete that work or how we might be able to do that, because I think it's fair to say you were looking for something new and different. I mean, is that fair to say?
Well, I shared mine by emailing it, and Bill shared his feedback that said, yep, sounds great. So if you want to be able to add to that or modify that, you're welcome. I invite that. I think it'd be great.
I know that from the very beginning we were recognizing that we already had expertise on hand. We were looking for a leadership position, a management position to tie those two entities together, the solid waste and environmental services and stormwater all together. The job description, the timing of it was just bad. We had talked about it, didn't follow through with it. I don't think there was 5 word difference that was removed or changed. I'm going by memory, but our intent was looking for leadership. As to how we measure it, I think we're going to measure it as to how well that team comes together, the working conditions and relationships between everybody down there, and I think that's something that we would probably feed up to us to recognize whether we have a problem or not. He's brighter, sharper on environmental issues than I thought already, and that I guess that I have to attribute that to relationship dealing with those probably before they come before us here. So I think that it be like any other position, any other department. Success is going to depend upon the outcome. So I think it'd be good.
Well, and I think that, I mean, just for my purposes, for us to all be on the same page, it would be really helpful for me to see what is it that is new and different that you were seeking and that you found in Don, that we can then all be on the same page with. This is what we have, this is what we're seeking, as this is what success looks like in the qualities that we need in that leader, and just moving forward, that we're all on the same page with that. I would very much appreciate getting that information.
I have to give staff credit for what we had today, of course.
No, of course.
And it was really good, the working relationship and the goal. And I think part of that came from what Bill did prior to when we reached out to staff and saying, are we on the right track? Are we going in the right direction? And I think that's what that report was that we had today. And it sounded more like, I really appreciate the way they brought that together today as environment or stormwater 101. And
right.
They come back and it kind of said, here's our state regulations, and here what we are. And our permit is the permit of the county, and the county submitted their plan to coordinate with the regulation of the state.
Right.
And the staff put that together, and it was
good.
Really put together, because it really grounded everything as to what we were going to do and how we're going to get there. So
They did great.
it was good, and I went to staff with Jane, was that her name?
Yeah.
I said she's the one that put it together, so I thank her and Ron that there is a great presentation.
Good. So can we get that? I mean, I look to you, Commissioner, because you're the one who kind of put together your thoughts on qualifications, on the new qualifications that you thought we really needed in that position. And I got to know what the expectations are, as someone. What's that?
That was me when I said early on that we were looking for a leadership management position.
The only ones I saw written were from Commissioner Medora, I'm sorry.
I invite you, if you have different ideas or you have your own input, to go ahead and submit that as well.
We already hired someone, so I wanna know how we judge this person that you guys hired. That's, I mean, I don't wanna, me creating something,
Our
would
our
be.
staff hired.
Okay, so me creating something though doesn't get me to, all right, what are you, we have a person in there. Now, how do we actually judge performance? How do we actually, what are the standards that that person is fulfilling so that I can know this is what success looks like? I mean, every employee has a job, and that's what I need to know. What is the job, and what, how do we actually make sure that he's meeting and exceeding expectations, because his boss is going to be asked to review him. By what standard? So that's what I'm saying. I need those standards. And so will ultimately the county administrator, who has to do the job performance evaluations for that person. So that's what I'm asking for. And me doing it, I'm not the one who thought it up and that came up with this. So I just am trying to get up to speed here. Well,
We have an evaluation, Bill has an evaluation process because he manages all the managers.
yep,
And I guess that's where we start.
it is, but he's got to have something to measure him against.
It measures against the success of meeting the requirements of the state and putting together a plan with that staff. And I believe that's the only way we measure it, is our success of doing that business, the smoothness of the operation. And that's the things that we do with every department that we have here. We wouldn't do this any different than any other department.
Exactly, and every other department head has a job description and has.
Well, we have one.
But it was in flux, so I'm just trying to get it locked down, and so that we are all on the same page with that.
So Bill, do we have that finished, the job description of the DEF director? Okay.
Do we have it
that's
finished as it's amended by the commission?
I have in,
Because the old one was pulled, because it was not deemed to be the correct job
well,
description.
what I presumed I was to do was to put what Commissioner Madore, the traits, he did not call it a job description, he called it traits of the person who should fill the position. I put those traits in a draft form into the existing job description, or some of them are already there.
Do you remember off the top of your head what they were, roughly? I remember maybe five word
I can
things.
get it if you like.
As long as we can get them. I mean, I don't want to take up all day. I just was making sure that it's
I'll
moving forward, that we're all on
I'll
the same
circulate
page.
that, so you can look at it.
And the only
Because
other
you
thing-
haven't seen it yet, I just did it, so.
Well, and the only other thing that I know of that has been unresolved as far as that is expectations associated with kind of the political nature of Don's work in the Senate, and how, and I've had questions asked as far as, okay, well, what if there is something he's gonna be voting on that has a specific impact to Clark County? Does he recuse himself for a vote in the Senate based on that? I don't know the answer.
I hope not.
No, I mean, so I mean,
You
is
know,
the goal to
if it
have him
works
help us
out.
with it? Because I mean, it makes
I
sense.
think it's in the air. I think, number one, we come first.
Mhm.
If there's something up there that he has the ability to put himself on more environmental committees, that would educate him more, and then he would see any issues that we have here, that he can go up there firsthand and say, we have an issue with this, I'd like to see if we could address this. And you get to have staff work on that stuff, if it works,
But if I may, just to help you with that, Commissioner Madore received an email from a constituent that was copied to Brad Owen, the Lieutenant Governor, asking him specifically as President of the Senate, certain questions about the ability of Senator Benton to, with his new capacity, to do that. Commissioner Madore asked Bronson Potter to review the email and address the response. So Bronson comes up later. We might want to ask him about that, what he's doing. And Bronson said, before I consider my response, I'd like direction from the board to do so, so he'll be asking you to do that.
Well, I would just assume that we would do the responsible thing, and of course, ask him to go ahead and respond to that as he, just to make sure those bases are covered. So, you all good with that?
Can you talk about?
There is a citizen that said, we will make sure that there's no problems with the dual role. that he plays, so the
Yeah.
natural thing would
Yeah,
be
I'm aware
let
of
the
that.
prosecuting attorney
Yeah.
answer those questions.
We are a citizen legislator made up of everybody, so.
Sure, so green
Teachers,
light.
firemen,
He'll be here.
Yeah, and the question is like, is a teacher,
we
does a
even have
teacher
one that's
recuse
county
themselves from,
commissioner, we have, yeah, no
Okay.
problem.
So we'll get info on that then. Cool, good. That's all I had on that.